train to Liverpool and then headed north on a separate train towards Southport and got off at a place called Waterloo, not the famous one and not the famous place from London. Got Liverpool behind me. And the windmills, which I don't know if you can pick it up on camera, head all the way out to see the huge banks of them out there. And then these strange sculptures on the beach, randomly placed, and I'm guessing buried deep by some artist. And I've heard a lot about them. And here I am saying hello to my first one. How you doing, mate? Right. Looking very battered and rusty and very naked. Nice to make your acquaintance. You too! If only I could stay here with you and just look out at the sea every day. How amazing would that be? It's very windy here. I don't know how much I'll be able to pick up. I really need to invest in a microphone to cancel the wind noise. It is incredibly windy, whistling across this big open beach here. But my plan, if I can, is to head north along the beach and get as far as I can towards Southport, where I'm going to treat myself to fish and chips, all being well. It's a good 15 miles, so if I don't quite make it that far, especially with walking on sand, I'll just get the next nearest train and take it from there. So wish me luck. I'll come back to you if I see anything interesting along the way. It's a long time since I spent any time amongst such big sand dunes. I can't remember the last place that I did that. I bet many a frolic has been had in there over the years. Quite an extensive network, although you can see the housing estate just over the other side. Lots of people enjoying the beach today. It's just so nice to hear the roar of the tide as it's coming in, or maybe even going out, but I would imagine with this amount of beach exposed that the tide's coming in now. God, it's just the smell of the salt air and the breeze and the seabirds digging around in the sand for little tasty morsels. It's just so refreshing to be here. Why did I leave it so long? No idea what happened here. You can see there's loads of big pebbles and bricks on the beach, obviously deposited here by man or as a result of some explosion maybe, but they've obviously been here a long time because most of them are really rounded in seawater. Sad to see so many flowers tied to benches along this promenade, and every couple of meters there's a sign that says just how dangerous the coast, the beach is here. So that building over in the distance there looks very Art Deco. There's quite a lot of signs and posts with various signs on top of them along the coast, which I've never considered before. And I mean, obviously on beaches you'll get flags that say that it's safe to swim or not, but I don't know what any of these mean. Beautiful lilac flower with a yellow centre, and there's just swathes of it along here. Google Lens has come up with a few different ideas, but one of them being Michaelmas daisy. I'm sure my mum will correct me on that at a later date. Over in the distance, on the horizon, you can see a huge container ship which was leaving dock at Liverpool as I was arriving at the coast. I wonder whether it's full or empty, or what destination it's going to, and how long it's going to take it to get there. I've had to come off, I was going to say off-road, but off-path. It seemed to be going in the wrong direction, or at least taking quite a circuitous route around the sand dune. Well, it's kind of a wildlife park as well, I guess. But I spotted this little cutting. It's obviously been well used, maybe just by dog walkers, but I don't want to really be going way out of my way to get around housing estates and dodgy bits of coast and rivers, estuaries. I would like to, if I can, get all the way to Southport without having to get the train for the last few stops, but we'll see how it goes. I think I've probably got quite a good few hours left, if it's possible at all. Hopefully I don't have to turn back and retrace my route. I'm guessing by the slightly furry leaves, despite it being by the coast, that this is actually some kind of evening primrose. I have seen one like this before, but only in a woodland. Quite surprised that it might be actually a coastal plant too. Contrast on this plant, I'm not sure you can pick it out on the camera, but the sort of almost grey-green spiky leaves and the bright orange berries. Sea berry, I think this might be called, or I might be wrong. They look like lovely little oranges hanging off the branches. So I just spoke to a lovely old chap down at the boating club, Hightown Boating Club I think it was called, something like that, and he guided me through this sand dune jungle that I seem to be going through right now. Advised me about the coastal path turning inland, and that was my best option because of a rifle range that covered most of the beach. So very glad that he told me about that, and that I didn't actually try and venture across the breach the beach. Bit of a lull in the wind as I'm down in these dips, but gonna probably have to make my way inland at some point soon and go by road. And in the meantime, he was telling me that this part of the coast that I'm walking through now, these dunes and a small forest, is part of an ancient woodland that's stretched down to the beach, where scientists found all sorts of different bones. I'm going to put a picture up of some of the things that I saw on the notice board, and he said I got about 10 miles to go, which I may or may not make it. As I mentioned maybe earlier, I'll just do as much as I can, and thankfully the west coast here from Liverpool to Southport and further beyond is well covered by little train stations, so I can pop inland at any point and get the train if I'm knackered or if it gets dark. But I am looking forward to fish and chips. Hopefully the shop will still be open in Southport when I get there. bit. And once out of that woodland, I have actually come across this creek which leads down into the sea, and I imagine that would be very difficult to cross, apart from by bridge or road. Well, it would be impossible. So I'm guessing that the path will lead inland now. That must be the firing range over to the left on the other side, and see where it takes me. Lovely old boatyard here with boats in various stages of their lives, clanking in the wind. Very nice. As expected, I've now had to come take a little path to the right to avoid the military range, and as if it wasn't enough warning from the guy, there you go. Firing range, keep out, do not touch anything, it may explode and kill you. Right, so inland, and probably the next bit will be by road. Hopefully there'll be somewhere to have a pee. It's getting out and about on these adventures that just makes you realise just how vast this small island we live on is. You know, I've travelled on the train for the distance of, cumulatively less than an hour. Just a couple of centimetres on the map to the west, and what looks like a easily doable section of the coast is it's going to take me quite a few hours, so it's always impresses me just how much of the country we'll never know, the country that we call home, and we spend hundreds and thousands of millions of pounds every year going on holidays abroad, and yet there's so much of our own country that we never get to see. Altcar training camp, and that's the military base, obviously. So follow the footpath here round to the side to Formby, 1.5 miles. Just caught that train as it went past. Just shows you literally how close I am on this walk to the railway line at most of the points, so can easily come off at any point you like if you're doing this walk yourself and save your leg. And I'm still skirting the edge of this, what obviously is quite a big camp. It's got several hundred acres of land here, football pitches, I imagine accommodation over there. So yeah, I probably shouldn't be filming it, but obviously quite a big military establishment. I've never heard of it before, and that reminds me actually, lots of times when I come walking, especially if it's by the coast, which hasn't been as often as I'd like it to have been over the last few years, I'm reminded of a book which at the moment is wedging up one of the legs of a table in my bedroom. But I think it was called 2 Feet 4 Paws or something like that, about this lady and her dog. And I only just found it in a charity shop one day or something, but basically I think she did it for one of the homeless charities. She walked around the whole of the coast of the UK. Took her, I think, around about a year to do it. Set off from London, and anti-clockwise, if I remember correctly, around all of the whole coast. Chose the right time of the year to do it, obviously, so that she was up in the harsh environment of Scotland during the summer, I think. If I remember, or if I find out the name of the lady whose book it is and the correct title, I'll put it on the screen now. But yeah, well worth a read, and very interesting how she managed to get various volunteers to drive basically a motorhome, a caravan, around to the places that she was going to stop, doing 20, 25, sometimes 30, I think, miles a day, sometimes a lot less. And as I found out today from walking along the coast, I was fine on footpaths and roads, but as soon as you're on the sand or rocks, it slows you down immensely. But yeah, a good book and very inspirational to me, and one of the things that actually started me walking more, I think. Everybody needs that motivation, whatever it is, whether it's something you read or a friend or just getting out and doing it one day. So I consider this part of my coastal walk. Maybe it gives you ideas as well. Say, for example, now maybe I'm thinking I could do it, but in lots of different stages, get the train to different places and do it in stages. I don't know if I can actually afford to take a whole year off work. Who knows? And on this very long, boring footpath, which doesn't seem to be coming to an end, I find this bench, solitary green bench. That's where I've come from. And here's an amazing bench. And what's the view? Bushes. Some sort of river here heading out to sea. The railway bridge just over there, literally a couple of metres away from this footpath, and the bridge to the footpath. And over the other side, a bit marshy, but then you can see green, luscious meadows stretching out into the horizon, and mixed forest. Does look very tempting over there, but I bet it's still part of the firing range. Yeah, so as I was saying before about that lady that wrote that book, the thing that I forgot to mention was that, as it seems I'm skirting this what is an immense firing range and military base here, and I remember distinctly that one of the problems that she had as she was going around the coastline was just the sheer number of estuaries, for a start, where she had to go a long way inland. Industry, like the Liverpool docks that I've left behind, where you have no choice sometimes but to go by road, and you can be a good mile or two or more away from the actual coastline itself. And the third one being military bases. I know that there are quite a few dotted around the coastline, as you would imagine with us being an island. It makes sense, but I presumed that most of them were actually down south, Cornwall, Devon, south coast. So I got up into Formby, almost to the train station, and then decided to detour off to the left. I had a choice then to get on the train there and just go straight to Southport, but I felt like that would be cheating. I may well change my mind, but in the meantime I've come to what's quite a posh place to live, Formby, and quite a busy place at the moment because of all the kids. The schools are kicking out, obviously, but I'm going to try and, it looks nice down there. I'm going to try and get down to the coast though. I know that this woodland here, this forest, is an area of national beauty, AONB or whatever you call it, and so hopefully about 5 to 10 minutes down this road and I'll be back on the coast. They weren't lying either. Look at this, it's a beautiful day today, lovely blue sunny sky, crisp autumn day, and the light shining through this very tall canopied pine forest. Really is majestic. And I'll be honest, I am starting to flag a little bit now. By my reckonings, I've done over half, probably about 8.5 miles of the 14, 15 roughly that I roughly calculated it to be. And so my promise to myself is that as soon as I get through this forest to the beach or the coast or however it manifests itself, I'm going to stop and have a drink, maybe something to eat, and a well-earned cigarette. Yes, lovely. So I didn't make it all the way quite down to the beach, because it looks like from the notice board, which I'll put on the screen, that the various footpaths that do exist through this huge wilderness of sand dunes, you see how just how far it all stretches behind me. It is quite impressive. I was not so impressed with the forest, although I don't think I got to see the full extent of it. And I'm now trying to negotiate the maze of paths, which thankfully somebody has made through this dune complex, and thankfully with well signposted as well. And as you can see behind me here, I'm following 1.25 miles to Victoria Road, Central Coastal Path. These handy little yellow markers as well, and this one in particular here is the one that the old chap earlier told me that I should keep following. So that's what I'm going to do, and hopefully it won't be too many hours before I have fish and chips in my belly. I'm determined to carry on. Just spoke to a lovely lady. The accent really around here is so fantastic, the variations of the Liverpudlian, I guess, but I really have underestimated just how enormous this area of natural beauty is. The forest over there, look at that beautiful stand of pine trees with the light casting through onto the pine needle ridden floor. And yeah, the lady was very helpful. She told me that it was possible to walk along the beach, so that's what I'm going to do for now, even though I probably still have another 5 miles to go. Beach as much as I can, and then maybe get the train at Ainscough, I think it's called. Much like when you're mountain or large hill walking, just when you think you've got to the top of the hill, more of it stretches out in front of you. Look at the sun as it's coming down through the clouds there. Hundreds and hundreds of wind turbines stretching out into the ocean. You won't be able to pick them out on camera, but I can literally see dozens and dozens of them. What a beautiful, wild, weird place it is. The mixture of sand dunes and forest and shrub, and the sea over there, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to get down to. Is that going to be the quickest route? I don't know. And just when you just don't think you can take any more sand in your face, any more little hillocks, you come over one final one, and there it is. There's the coast stretching out before you. Walk on quite solid sand, and blue sky is holding out for now. Here's another example of the beach being covered in bricks and cement and stuff, which is weird. It makes me wonder whether there were actually buildings or houses up on that ridge at some point, or whether it was just all dumped here. pools in the grasses on the dunes. Just leaving the beach now and the sunset behind for a while. What the heck is that? What a monstrosity. I mean, I like the artwork, but why have they just done that to an old building like that? It could be such a nice hotel or something. Anyway, I'm going to try and head up to Ainscough train station now and get the next train to Southport. Unless, of course, I find a really good fish and chip shop in Ainsdale, not Ainscough. My legs are jelly, man. Jelly. Finally found somewhere just on the seafront that does fish and chips, Marston's pub, carvery type place. So thankfully fish and chips will be served at last. Nice Pepsi to wash it down. Fucking hell, I'm knackered. Absolutely knackered. Good day though.